I exist to validate people that have been uh, forced to suffer because of corrupt cops, corrupt dcfs agents, corrupt judges, corrupt lawyers, and virtue signaling Christians, corrupt Christians. I'm here to validate all of those people. And as well as I am existing on earth to educate Christians, fake Christians, virtue signaling Christians. That is why I'm on earth. To educate the public and to validate victims of the government and fake virtue signaling Christians. It is a fact that much of the government is corrupt. Your own Bibles, Book of Mormon, and Doctrine and Covenants speak extensively about people who are imprisoned and arrested on false accusations. It is a known fact in the Bible, Book of Mormon, Doctrine and Covenants, yet Christians and Mormons pretend that this doesn't exist in your scriptures. You also pretend that criminals and crime doesn't exist in the Bible, Book of Mormon, and Doctrine and Covenants as well. You pretend all of this all the time in order to control people who have criminal records, to control anyone that's been arrested and been imprisoned. You don't actually study criminal cases, court cases, or documentaries or books ever about the truth about the government. You don't, because you don't care. You seek to oppress and silence them. This is a known fact in America, especially. Narcissists are everywhere, inside of the church, inside of the government. Judges, lawyers, cops, and DCFS agents. It is a fact that most of them are narcissistic. They're all about power, control, money, and ego. Yes, they walk all over people. Judges label people all the time of being criminals that are actually innocent. They ignore witness statements. They ignore complete evidence. And they'll label somebody a criminal who committed a crime, even though witnesses and videos and paperwork will say nothing about that person committing a crime. This is a fact, and only people that actually study court cases would know this. Only people that actually speak to people with criminal records would actually know this and know the truth and be appalled by it. Anybody that actually knows their scriptures would be appalled by this. The problem is people don't actually read their scriptures. They never have and they never will. Lazy and apathetic. Again, it's about power and control. It's about virtue signaling. Christianity, most of it is all about virtue signaling. It is true what people say that hate on Christians and Mormons is absolutely true. What they say is how fake Christians are, how virtue signaling they are, how corrupt they are. It is absolutely 100%. They're narcissistic. They don't help people. They refuse to help people that are truth speakers, men, women, and children that are truth speakers. They silence them and oppress them and refuse to let their voices be heard. It is wrong. It is criminal. You guys are accomplices to crimes everywhere, committed by government officials and corrupt Christians. When you refuse to investigate a case of somebody who is innocent, what does that say about you and your friends and your family members and your neighbors? That speaks volumes. What does that say to the children growing up and teenagers growing up? That speaks volumes. When you do not stand up for what's true and what's right, then you're not a true Christian practicing their religion. Because your religion says to stand up for truth and righteousness. But when you're not, then you're not a true Christian, are you? Living your beliefs. When you're not preaching the truth and spreading the truth and investigating truths, when you're not investigating facts and evidences, then what kind of person are you, and what does that show teenagers and children? What does that show your coworkers, your neighbors, your friends and family, like I already said? When you guys refuse, you keep silencing the truth speakers. You keep imprisoning the truth speakers. So many people have not read books and documentaries, extensive books and documentaries out there about people that were falsely accused. Same with the Book of Mormon, Bible and Doctrine and Covenants, full of people that were falsely accused. And you don't investigate even those books. You also pretend that the people you worship in those books aren't criminals, like David in the Bible. You pretend he's not a criminal. You pretend Nephi in the Book of Mormon is not a criminal with a criminal record. You pretend that Joseph Smith is not a criminal with a criminal record, who founded the Mormon Church. They talked about corrupt government, every single one of those books, and yet modern day Christians and Mormons worship the government. We back the blue. We back the blue. You never question what cops say about people. You never question what judges say about people. You never question what lawyers do and don't do. There are a lot of lawyers that never once asked a client, what witnesses do you have? What evidences do you have? And even if they do present that, there's lawyers that refuse to present your witnesses and your videos and paperwork of your complete innocence. Okay? There's people that refuse to, and you're going to tell people, other people, that they had fair trials? No, they did not. No, they did not. When you have cops lying about people, and then everybody else in America enables them, and it plays accomplice to their crimes by not investigating the truth. Millions of people are falsely accused in America, and people do not investigate their cases. Refuse. You refuse because it's not your family member, or it's not your friend, or you pretend they don't matter because of discrimination or because they don't have as much money as you. There is hate crimes going on. This is absolutely a hate crime. When you let parents get lied about and their children separated from them. When people are falsely accused of crimes and you let the government walk all over them, and then you can pretend like you didn't know that person in college or high school or church, or you're going to pretend you weren't roommates with them or neighbors with them in your past. You're going to pretend they're not your family member. You're going to disown this friend or family member because all of a sudden they have a criminal record. Even though your religion was founded upon a criminal who committed crimes, who was arrested and thrown in jail. Even though the people you worship in the Book of Mormon, Doctrine and Covenants, and Bible were criminals who committed crimes. Even though there were also people that were thrown in prison and arrested on false accusations, but she refused to investigate modern day criminals that have criminal records. You deny them apartments, housing, jobs, volunteer opportunities because you pretend that all cops have integrity. You pretend that all judges have integrity, lawyers. You pretend that other people have integrity when they do not. You also pretend that you yourself have integrity when clearly you do not, when you don't investigate the truth. When you don't investigate court cases. When you just pretend that anybody in a uniform, anybody with a title, must be so outstanding and pure and innocent and holy. You pretend that people with no criminal records are not criminals. You pretend they don't play accomplice to criminals and crimes. You pretend that all these people are so innocent just because they don't have a criminal record. You mean because they haven't been caught with their crimes? People are committing crimes left and right every single day that are Christians, that are Mormons, that have money, power, prestige, titles. You guys pretend that Americans with no criminal records are innocent, pure, and holy and righteous and full of integrity when it is not true at all. Narcissism is everywhere. It's inside of every single family, organization, government, every single place. They will play victim, they will manipulate, they will gaslight. They're all about power and control. They will lie and compulsively lie. It is out of control. America and Americans are not safe. It is not a safe place for children to grow up. And there's not much hope when people refuse to acknowledge the truth. People refuse to acknowledge the crimes going on amongst church members, Christians, Mormons, the government officials, when you refuse to acknowledge the crimes people committed in your circles, you refuse. You think that just because people haven't been caught with their crimes, that they're pure, innocent, and holy. It is so far from the truth. You think that all sober people, are pure, innocent, and holy, righteous, and truth speaking, when they're not at all. America is full of narcissists, and America is full of pedophilia and people that support pedophilia. When you don't stand up against the innocents and for the innocent, then you are an accomplice to pedophilia, you're an accomplice to narcissism, you're an accomplice to abuse and neglect, to men, women, and children everywhere. When you refuse to investigate the truth, when you refuse to investigate court cases, then you are an accomplice to crimes committed by the government, fake Christians, and fake Mormons.